Hello and welcome to yet another Legends of Runeterra podcast. I'm Conansson and I'm joined again by my awesome co-host Leah. Hello Leah.
Hey, yo, what's up?
And today we have a special guest, Jinden. And
Hello, guys.
Jinden is a very good player. Know each other for a while. Friends with Leah as well. Uh, just laughed at your meme on this. That's
Yeah,
pretty accurate.
it's a bang.
And
Took
yeah,
me
tell us
like
a
two
little bit
minutes.
about yourself, Jinden.
Um, I'm a player from EMEA. I should be playing in APAC, but I'm playing in EMEA for now. I would consider myself one of the good players, ladder and top cut wise. Even though I haven't performed too well at top 32s, but yeah, I always achieve a 7-2 spot. It's rare for me to achieve a 7-2 spot. Um, yeah, that's basically what you guys need to know about me.
Yeah, actually, last season, a little side story here. I think Jinden didn't play much in the Awakening season, and then he played
That's
like
a
on
good
the
example,
very
actually.
in the very last day of the cutoff and just casually climbed 600 LP to qualify for Worlds and top cut. So
Yeah, it took me like 4 days to climb 700, 600 LP. I forgot what it was.
Crazy. You actually have a profile from Vogue as well. Best
hmm
to win Giant Slayer Fight Night back. Which, like,
Oh, there's also that.
Leah, you also
I forgot
won
about
back to
that.
back Fight Night, right?
yep, we are,
Bad
I
with
guess, in
you.
the same category. Actually, I won like
I always,
my first fight night when Jinden was trying to win his third one in a row, but we
I went
never
like
played
back to
against each
back,
other.
and then the week after, Leer went back to back, and then no, White Knight died,
Yep,
unfortunately.
I'm the last
Fortunate.
double champion of fight night. That's a pretty cool title.
Mhm.
And your earnings are 865. I imagine making so much money from Legend. Anyways,
Yeah.
let's move on to the actual part. And we have a new patch notes over here 3.19. Wonder if we ever are going to reach 4. Probably. And you got a preview. However, it was only a small peek behind the curtains, and there are some actual other changes that weren't mentioned over here. And we'll go through each single one of these changes and see what's up. Okay, first one is Varus. That's the least played champion from the 3 we got. And he changes, he gets a little level up buff, targets 8 allies to target 7 allies. So, Jinden, did you play any Varus at all? I think this buff will matter.
I've played all the various decks that were available. Yeah, he will still not see play next meta. Even with this buff, he's still dead. Pantheon got nerfed with Saga Seeker. Um, Nami is just not a good deck with Varus. You could just play anything else. I guess you can play Akshan Varus, but Akshan also got nerfed. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think this will see play, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. That Varus Pantheon was like the most competitive deck. And with Saga Seeker getting nerfed, I think Varus buff doesn't make up for that deck. So we will have to see, like, maybe the other nerfs to more dominant champions will give him more playability.
I expected a bigger buff to be honest. It was like target 6 allies, for example, but just
Yeah,
one. That's
same.
like somewhat better, but not really. Okay, we all agree. Next, you are very excited about this, Jinden. The Jinx change.
Yes!
Jinx! I know what I'm playing
Jinx
for
will be
words.
meta.
He
Jinx
now
will be meta
creates
for Worlds.
the first Super Mega Death Rocket on level up. Cannot create another that turns. I don't have to empty your hand again. All my awesome rules knowledge will now be useless. Or you can let this thing just get the rocket right away. Yeah, Jinden, tell us about this. Why is it going to make it viable?
Well, first, it's a really good buff. It just gives you Decimate for 1 as soon as you player. As soon as you level up her. Second, all the nerfs in the thing with Tellstone's Ionia. There was another one. Seraphine nerfs, so everything will be like not as broken as before. Everything will, I'm gonna assume, will hang around the mid-range spot. So I'm gonna assume that Jinx will just carry over, or we'll see play at least next meta.
I hope so. Jinx is like one of my favorite champions as well. I bought the board when I first got into lore. And I never really got to play with her except for Power of Champions. There I will also bring Jinx to Worlds, or even playing in Worlds.
No, I'm not playing in Worlds at all. Thanks for rubbing it in, man.
You're welcome.
Actually, something that I wanted to ask Jinden was seeing some of these changes and you participating in Worlds. Does this like, do you right away look at these changes and think about what you will bring to Worlds?
This is one of the cards that I'm gonna test a lot with for Worlds. I'm not sure if I'm gonna bring it, but it's a lot of testing for sure.
Okay, we'll see how it works out, and I'm excited to watch you, and hopefully you get featured on encouragement. Yeah, next change is Jax gets a level up buff. Level up is now 12 damage of allies with equipments instead of 15 damage. Leer, what do you think about this one?
Well, when I first saw Jax getting buffed, like on the patch preview tweet, it was like, why does he get buffed? I mean, he already has Jax Vayne, but with Vayne getting adjusted, and especially like the editor's like note about why Jax gets buffed, it makes a lot of sense that like Jax never really felt like the star of his region, and he's just a cool 2-drop in that region. So I think buffing him makes a lot of sense, and I think it's a good change, like foresight wise, with also nerfing Vayne. Yep.
Definitely makes a lot of sense if you have one champion and you hit the other one. It was so sad. I played Jax when he first came out and played Banditry, and he was just run as one-off just to enable all of the other broken cards. Would like to see him.
Yeah, that's actually like a Varus Severe Action deck that also just includes one Varus for the region to play like some of the cultist spells.
Kinda sad.
Yeah, overall, right, the Runeterra champions haven't been that powerful.
Okay.
I don't think it will see play, to be honest. Just because it was playable because of Jax Vayne, right? But there's a better deck now, which is Quinn Vayne. And so I don't see a deck where it can see play because Quinn is taking the spot of Jax now. So yeah.
We have to see how the meta shapes up after this match.
Oh, but do you really think that Gwen Vayne now is better than Jax Vayne? Because I mean, Vayne
if you just look at stats,
look
at stats, it says so. Quinn Vayne has like
oh, you mean
like
Quinn Vayne?
10 plus matches. Yeah, Quinn Vayne, not Gwen.
Yeah, I agree that.
Okay, next change, and I actually predicted that. Snip, 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 the Gwen level 2 ability now drains to minimum. That was my prediction for this change, that the level 2 spell doesn't fizzle anymore, because that would just be awkward, and I assume this means that we don't want leveling up a champion to feel like a downside, giving level up Gwen a minimum damage 2, so it always lets a little bit even when being stunned or being moved. And I think this change was like spoiled a long time ago when Gwen first, like the first patch after Gwen, and they discussed it and I didn't want to do it yet. Now they are doing it, so no longer Gwen's skill no longer fizzles. I think this makes a lot of sense, even if it's like not completely pure from the wording.
So it drains to now?
Drains to minimum. So basically, if you kill Gwen before level 2, it would just do nothing. The skill would just fizzle. Now, even if you kill Gwen, it still deals 2.
Oh, okay. Okay, I understand.
Personally, I find it weird in the first place that the level 1 spell doesn't fizzle, because if you like remove Talia or Ziggs, their attack spells don't go through, right? So Gwen is just very unique in the way that her attack skill goes through when she's killed.
Difference is
So
here that you have the
it never
block.
made
I mean,
sense to me.
the wording. Yeah, it's the wording. Talia's blocker or Annie's
Okay.
block.
Okay.
If she's dead, she doesn't have a blocker anymore. Since it's
Mhm.
the same one.
Yeah, that makes sense. So,
Okay. Does this really affect her? Like have her at level 2 already? A little bit better, but break her anything?
it's a quality of life.
Quality
Yep.
of life. So the big one.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Seraphine changes from you've played 6+ new spells to 9+ new spells. She's now 150% more level up, and yeah, will just take a lot more time for her to get to level 2.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I can discuss this together with the fan club president. I think this card is one of the most unfun cards to play against. You just have to play around a random 5-cost spell from any region.
Mm-hmm.
This now costs 5. And yeah, you played a lot more this season than I did. Start with Jinden. What do you think about this? I guess we saw it already.
Which one?
The both together, Seraphine.
Yes.
We can discuss them after each other, but I think they kind
I
of belong
mean,
together.
she might still see play because how much value she gives, but the fact that she can't level for a while makes it so much better.
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, that's pretty much my opinion.
Yeah, I think also just the fact that she gets changed like to casting 3 more spells just shows how
It's
extremely
insane.
busted she was. So yeah, it's definitely something. I think there were like some decks that started to abuse the Seraphine's low threshold to leveling her. Like Akshan Seraphine, for example, was a deck that kind of shouldn't exist, but it could because even though it wasn't even good at playing many different spells, it still just leveled her casually. So yeah, I mean, I think it's difficult to say if Seraphine now is fixed or if she's still playable or unplayable, because this is like the type of nerf where it's not immediately clear, at least to me, if she's okay or not. But
I think
yeah,
she will still see play, but not as overpowered as before.
Yeah.
Just because the support package that she has is just way too good.
My big problem with these changes is that it makes her more more biased, and of course or more polarizing. I should say, not biased. Polarizing because she was already bad against these high tempo decks that just run you over like Vayne, and they just build a board and rally. And now she's even weaker to that because her plays cost even more mana. She's even slower. But against the decks she's already good at, just generating infinite value, you level her a few turns later, that doesn't really matter because it will just still slam down the bar and still generate infinite value. So I think this is similar to Pantheon, where they just made them even weaker to aggressive decks. But now you always have to play aggressive decks or have an aggressive or like a tempo deck in the meta. Otherwise, Seraphine will just take over the late game, similar to the Karma problem. So I hope they just rotate her.
That's why I'm so excited for Jinx. Because it helps beat her, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, if you have Jinx and a lot of Swarm, then you also can rush her down.
Conansson, are you saying this is like a bad change because it doesn't really change a lot, just more polarizing matchups for Seraphine?
It's the same criticism that I have with Pantheon. Like, Pantheon was always super weak to these Swarm decks, and they made him just even weaker to Swarm decks by giving for example, the Overwhelm, the Zenith Blade. Didn't really need the Overwhelm against other go big decks or mid-range decks, you just won by outvaluing them. But Zenith Blade, the Overwhelm was really useful against those Swarm decks to help you push through the damage over multiple turns. And they just took away the Zenith Blade, made them even more weaker to these Swarm decks. And they're doing the same again with Seraphine. Yeah, they make her even more weaker against these tempo strategies, but still good against all of the late game. If you play Freljord, for example, play like a control deck, that doesn't really matter if she levels up 2 turns later, for example.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's actually a healthy thing for a deck to have like weaknesses and strengths.
I don't think that's what he's trying to say. He's just giving a point that that's what she is now, but he's not saying that she's not unhealthy or healthy.
Yeah, I just like a deck that has across the board 50% win rates and not like 80% and 20%, like Pantheon did today. And that's like
Oh,
just have a 30% matchup. That's not fun for anybody. You just auto win or auto lose, or like 30 is high, like but 20 to 80 or something.
So you prefer you prefer decks like Seraphine that has multiple 50% win rates?
I prefer decks that have like fun, like 50%, and you can play it out. Because it depends on each matchup how it actually plays out.
Yeah.
But I prefer it not being a coin flip on what deck do you play against, do you win or do you?
oh, so you were like a big planner player back in the day, or
Yeah, maybe a Scion player as well. Yeah.
Exactly.
to be honest, I think it's kind of cool to have like polarizing decks for tournaments, especially, right?
Yeah.
Because that makes it a lot more spicy to build like lineup. What do you actually think about that, and how do you approach like lineup building for tournaments, for example, for Worlds?
For Worlds, well, now I don't know because there will be no stats, right? There will be like 10 days worth of stats. That's not enough. All you're gonna do is just prep. Your stats is your prep. If you're not gonna prep every single deck that you think that will be viable, then you good luck relying on stats, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all about figuring it out yourself, pretty much.
And do you usually go for decks that have like a 50% win rate against across the field, or lineups that are pretty much 50-50 into everything? Or do you rather rely on some more cheesy strats of hitting the right?
It depends. I think for Worlds, since you don't know, or yeah, since you don't know what will be the tier 1 decks, it will be really hard to create a lineup that targets that specific deck. So yeah, the strategy for everyone should be like make the best 50-50 matchup possible, or 50-50 lineup, I mean. Unless we figure out what's the new best thing. But yeah, that's my strategy.
And I think most really good players tend to go for these 50-50 lineups because they can just outskill. But sometimes you just run into the guy hard countering one of your decks with like 3 other decks. It's happened to me like in round 2 of season days before multiple times. And then it's just sad because will not win these season days, but they will certainly win against you because all of the good matchups against. It happens sometimes as well. But I was talking more about ladder play because most people watching and playing the game are ladder players. The tournaments is certainly different. It can be fun to have polarizing decks.
Totally different. Also, playing seasonals and playing Worlds is completely different as well. Just because there will be more players going for the 50-50 route than I'll choose this one thing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
We see how it works out. Let's move on to the next big change. Humble is now at 4 mana from the start. Still gets changed each time you run start or when you get the attack token. Just run start. And Bane's Tumble is now, it had multiple tier 1 decks, makes sense. And level 2 changes from reduced by 3 to just reduce the cost to 0, so just the quality of life that does the same as before. Didn't want to write reduced by 4, just write reduce to 0, so if you change Tumble again, I don't have to change main level 2. Yeah, makes it a little bit slower. I didn't predict, I thought more about this. Like my change would have been you have to either target Vayne or you have to equip an equipment for it to work. Not a free attack. Kinda interesting, but just making it more expensive just slows down the deck. Yeah, what do you think about this one?
Well, my first thought is kind of that it fits with the rally nerfs that we will see later. Just in general, like rallying or attacking with someone for free, or not for free, right? But attacking with something again is just getting taxed this patch. I wonder if this is like a huge nerf, because Tumble is 1 mana more, and it will definitely slow Wayne down, but I feel like Wayne is still playable, but I don't know. I'm like in the last past patch notes, I was really under evaluating how big some nerfs are, but I feel like this tumble nerf is still okay for her, I feel like. But I'm not sure. How do you feel guys about it?
I think she will still see play. I don't think the 1 mana matters. I think you can prepare. You can prepare yourself with your tempo plays with your units and still have exact mana for tumble for your swings. So I don't think this is that big much of a nerf.
Yeah, I agree. Except a little bit more because Vayne was the big deck, but maybe when Seraphine isn't the big deck anymore, you can play other stuff that isn't high tempo, and then Vayne will also kind of push the meta just by the meta shifting. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I also feel like a lot of times you put Wayne down and you don't want to tumble right away. I feel like that's more of I would say a high level play, just to let Wayne sit, and even though you are usually the tempo deck, you just pass into your opponent and say, hey, if you pass back to me, I will just have a cheaper tumble and more mana available for future turns.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's also definitely a factor where if you know how to utilize tumble right, I don't think it's too hard of a nerf.
And in the end, in the late game, like you don't ever use all of your mana, so if it goes to like turn 6, 7, 8, you usually have one more mana lying around anyways. Top deck your
Mhm.
Vayne, you can. Okay. Next change here is Lee Sin and Leer, you wanted to talk about this one, cast 8 spells to cast 10 spells. My prediction was yeah, more spells, but I hoped he would just be reworked to not be toxic anymore. What do you think?
Well, like not to hide anything, I'm like a big Lee Sin player, and I really love him and Lee Sin decks. And what did you say?
Yeah, I like him as well.
Nice. We can be friends. So I definitely get that his level up condition is a little bit more difficult with like momentous choice. It was like getting really easy. We can also see like Wall of Swords getting adjusted, right? My problem with this is Lee Sin was like not an oppressive force in the meta. So seeing like the develop like the team being aware that Lee Sin is like getting adjusted and giving him attention by actually nerfing him, but then not buffing him in a way that he's actually playable is like a little confusing to me. I mean, maybe it's because I just love Lee Sin and his decks, but I mean, he doesn't have a viable deck now. I mean, Fizz Lee Sin is kind of like the best thing, and it doesn't even have on net an above 50% win rate. So
There is a good deck. There is a good deck.
Oh, okay.
I'll let you know after. Finish your what you want to say.
Yeah, okay. But apart from the Sin Lee Sin deck, I feel like especially like Akshan Lee Sin was kind of a thing because Akshan was so busted with the new cards. And yeah, with Akshan getting adjusted, I feel like Lee Sin could have deserved like a small buff. So that's like a little frustrating for me as a Lee Sin player, but yeah, it's always difficult to like evaluate as a person that likes a card if this change is like the best change for the game, or if you just are salty about your favorite champion getting left.
What do you want to add?
Yeah, I think this nerf was good. I really do, because I think that World's meta will revolve around mostly mid-range deck or very tempo heavy decks, and this and just kills them. One thing this nerf hits is Akshan Lee. Akshan Lee has enough amount of time to level Lee Sin on curve and OTK with exact 8 spells, right? Before. Now it can't. I think it might be too slow. And also you might die before you get there, right? But there's this one deck that could still be really good even though it's 10 spell Lee Sin level up, and it's Victor Lee. I think
Oh, I see.
Victor Lee is still really good, even with this nerf.
Interesting.
Because usually Victor Lee, once you play Lee, he's around 12, 10 spells by the time you drop him.
Uh-huh.
So that deck that will not really get hit as much as Akshan Leaf, for example.
My question to you two is, like, I also like playing Lee Sin, but I just feel like he's not healthy for the game. It's not healthy to have these combo win cons that just straight up win you the game. It's just a clock against Lee Sin if you're playing a mid-range deck. And
Yeah, well,
you can
I
never
don't
kill
disagree.
him, you can like never interact with him.
He plays
Like this.
Eye of the Dragon, so you can't also rush him. The best counter to Lee Sin is playing Alus and Minimars. If you really wanna beat him, right?
Yeah, but not everybody is like has access to
Yeah,
Minimap.
exactly. It might be a good tech for Worlds, I guess. If you can create a lineup that has Alus and Minimorphs and have good matchup across the board, you can play something like this. But yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this question, if some people remember, like in Hearthstone, there was also, I unfortunately forgot the name of the card, but there was like a deck that would have like in the hand of like the top 50 player of the world or something, like an incredible win rate above 80%. But in the hand of everyone else, it was just an okay deck with like a sub 50% win rate. And I feel like these combo type decks, they require so much thinking that it's just extremely fun for me just to like have all these possibilities and think about it, and you just get rewarded for finding the right line. So it's incredibly fun to play yourself, and I feel like even playing against it, like most people will misplay and not win. But I can definitely see that sometimes the game can feel predetermined if you face like a good player and they just know what they are doing and you basically can't interact with it.
I love Lee Sin. I played a lot of action Lee Sin back last season, I think, or the season before. It's fun for sure to play and to figure it out. Sometimes you just know your opponent is like, I don't want to think about all the possibilities. I will just slam this card, randomly deny, for example. But yeah, let's move on from Lee Sin, I would say, to Akshan or his landmarks. I think this one was pretty obvious. Landmarks just get one more countdown, takes one more turn for Warlord Sword. They don't even like explain this at all. And so just say it's Lee Sin. But basically, also Mantis choice, I think, was Jinden. What do you
I think Akshan's dead. Other than Akshan Silver.
It's dead? Really?
Yeah, it's probably dead. Yeah. I think it's dead. Other than Akshan Silver. Other than that, he'll still play with that deck, especially with the Laurent buff or redesign. Akshan Silver might be a really good deck this coming patch, in my opinion.
But are you saying he's dead? Like just because it's taking one more spell or one
Oh,
more.
also, guys, Laurent, the Laurent redesign still takes the landmark, if I'm not mistaken.
It's like a sometimes it works. Target something in it.
If I'm not mistaken, it takes the landmark.
Oh, really? Yeah. But it's not an ally, right? It's just an hand.
It sometimes works, not.
Okay.
Talking about play Grand Challenger to an.
So would it also work with Key Guardian? Huh.
Like that's what we tested it before. Some patches it works, some patches it doesn't.
It worked with the 2-mana spell that recalls and then creates a 1-mana spell that you can summon a 3-cost unit or lower. I forgot what it's called. Retreat. Yeah, it worked with Retreat.
Or Return, then, yeah.
Yeah, it worked with this card last time I remembered.
Yeah,
wait,
so I assume it works.
I mean, Con is like the rules guy. Is there some crazy interaction where you first summon it and then target it? I don't know.
That's what they do with Akshan. First iteration of Akshan decks used to run retreats, so they could retreat Akshan and then resummon him, and then maybe play Eye of the Dragon kind of combos.
Interesting.
But
Yeah.
Leer, do you also think that Akshan is dead now?
I definitely understand why this change was made, because it's like Akshan had it coming for a long time. And I mean, there's always this Twitter bubble where everyone is complaining about, yeah, put Akshan with any champion and you have a good deck. But then you look at ladder and there's like not a single good Akshan deck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely. But yeah, I mean, he definitely had it coming. The problem is that it was basically like an adjustment because he works so well with Momentous Choice, right? But the problem is, if you
Yeah.
want to run a deck that doesn't play Momentous Choice, you just get taxed for nothing, right? So it's definitely one of these awkward situations where Akshan, it makes sense to nerf his landmarks, but at the same time, it hurts a lot of decks that would have loved to run him, that don't want to tap into Ionia or Cultist spells. I'm happy that it didn't get to 10 countdown. But yeah, I definitely understand the point where Jinden is coming from, because again, there was like no really good Akshan list on Nether this season. So
Mhm.
I mean, there was, I guess, Akshan Seraphine, but it didn't put up that great numbers. So yeah, it was basically a champ that didn't put up numbers, and now he got taxed. And yeah, I also don't see too much hope for Akshan.
It's fine, guys. Laurent will carry Akshan to play next batch.
Yep.
We'll have to see. Okay, Swain is just getting a little bit of a. I thought I would remove his overwhelm. Like, just. By the way, I didn't mention this before, but I didn't actually look at the patch notes before we discussed. So this is all new to me. I'm always going in surprised.
Okay.
But like I saw the Laurent change on Twitter, for example. I saw some stuff, but some of these changes still surprised me. For example, I was sure Swain would like get overwhelm taken away, for example, but now he's still just 4/7 overwhelm, but like one less attack. And Leer, did you also predict that, or?
I definitely was happy to see this Swain nerf, or already on the Twitter preview tweet.
Yeah.
Because Swain was just, especially with Swain with Fortune, it was putting up too good numbers to ignore it. And so I like definitely that they pedal back a little bit on him. And I can't really give great examples, but when playing against Swain, I had a lot of situations where I had like a 4 health unit, but Swain had 5 attack, and it was just punishing you so hard when he was leveled with the overwhelm. So I definitely like that he has 1 attack less now. And I don't think it will matter a lot for Swain players. I think it won't really impact a lot of the decks. Like the decks that want to run Swain, they will run him anyways.
You're saying it's a good change. Good enough.
Yep, I mean, it's especially for 5 cost, and what he does, removing 1 attack from him, I don't think impacts him too much. So it's like a precautious nerf that doesn't change too much about him. And I think, yeah, him having overwhelm, for example, is much more impactful than him having 1 less attack.
Jinden, what do you think?
I think it's still good, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. The nerf doesn't really hit as much. It will only affect the decks that want to run buffs on their spells, on their deck as spells, just to block, pump HP. Now they need to pump a little less HP now because 1 less damage. But other than that, he's still good.
I guess it taxes most Misfortune Swain, where you don't really have a lot of support tools for Swain, where you just want to like slam him and use this level up form
Yeah,
as
Swain.
like a power play.
Swain is a different card there. He's
Yep.
being used as a different card there.
Just have to mention, like, my least favorite card in the game is Ravenous Flock to play against. I love these mid-range
Oh,
Demacia
this
decks.
got nerfed, by the way. You'll see later. This got nerfed.
Wait, they nerfed Ravenous Flock randomly, or?
I'm joking.
Oh. You got my hopes up. I'm so sad now.
It's because you told me you haven't checked, so I had to put something in.
Yeah, but it's just so
It
sad to
wasn't.
lose like your mid-range unit, like your Quinn, for example, gets just pinged and then killed for 1 mana. Whenever I see Swain, I'm like, can I just click the concede button and play and it's another champ? But there's a lot of
Yes,
Swain and shoulders
it's
out
usually
there.
the case.
Wait, wasn't Friendly Nihilist once on the podcast? Did you confront him about your blockade or?
He was on the podcast twice already, but didn't really engage in a discussion about.
Ah, yeah, okay. I see.
We have to do this again. Next podcast, Ravenous Flock. Is it killing the game?
Great
I
topic.
think we discussed Swain enough. Let's move on
Yep.
to Ionian Hellstones, Ionian Hellstones. I was reading the healing potion already. 2 cards get
It's
changed
dead.
here. Healing potion and homecoming. I think everybody saw homecoming, but I didn't expect healing potion as well. The 2 cards we're getting instead of healing potion and homecoming, which were like the main modes, are Gruesome Theater and Ritual of Renewal. Didn't tell us about this while I show the viewers what these cards are if they don't know.
No, TLDR, the card is dead now. It will not see play.
Agreed. I'm kind of sad about that. Like, they could just.
This is a huge hit on all the Ionia decks.
Could have just changed. Like, my change was Homecoming to Will of Ionia. Nerfed it a little bit. But this just absolutely destroys it. There's no reason to play it ever again. But yeah, do you agree?
Well, I mean, again, I like I like these index. So when I
Yes,
saw
I
that
know.
the Tailstones will get nerfed, I was just also again really frustrated because I definitely see that it's a good Tailstones. And that especially with Karma or Seraphine, like going Tailstones into healing pot can be extremely frustrating. But I think in a lot of decks it was just a 1 or 2 off, and it was really cool. And instead of like taxing the one Tailstones that is actually playable, maybe they should just buff other Tailstones to make them more playable. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I think it was deserved.
Yeah, it was deserved for sure. Like, that shouldn't just give a deck 6 homecomings. It was the most annoying thing ever. But maybe leave it a
Also
little
the
bit
healing.
viable. Yeah, healing as well. But I like that it still has to stand united because that was my main use case for it. I was playing it in Chase Shen. I was beating someone on this podcast with it.
Oh god.
Still have the screenshot. I was like, now it's even better because Ritual of Renewal, but then remembered it's now a 4-mana card. But yeah, probably that. Interesting. Move on to Shaman Wind. The card that was Dian Disciple generates, and it's now a focus change. First anymore, it's focus, and what that means is you can't use it in combat anymore. You can't just wait until your opponent goes to combat and attacks you, and then you just Shaman Wind, Vasalian Disciple, recall Vasalian Disciple, and yeah, just get it back into your hand for free. Now you have to use it on your own turn or on your own priority. Jinden, what do you think about this one?
Card is still good. It will still see play, but it won't be as broken as it used to be. Yeah, like I said, Ionia right now is really good at topping kind of tempo plays, and Shimon getting this nerf helps with that.
Yeah, actually I love this nerf. I think it's this one nerf that didn't kill the card. I think any other possible nerf would have killed it with like 1 more mana, or maybe like summon the Vasalian Disciple next round or something. It would just outright kill the card. And with changing it to focus speed, it isn't as annoying anymore to like attack into your opponent when they have a Shimon Wind in hand. But at the same time, you can still like open attack, or you don't lose priority when you play Shimon Wind. So yeah, there were like a lot of places where you got like attacked, and the first thing you did was like draw a card with Shimon Wind and don't get punished for it because you also get a blocker then. and this just prevents from burst speed summoning a blocker. But I still think the card is still good. So yeah, I just really I think this is probably the best nerf we see this patch, because it's a good nerf that doesn't kill the card.
I also like it. Like I just had the change in mind to like one more mana or don't draw a card, but all of these would kill it. Focus is such a smart nerf, and I really like it as well. Great job of the design team. Okay, rallies, and yeah, definitely makes sense. I'm happy that Jade didn't make this one 5 mana as well. My prediction 2 5 manas. Relentless Pursuit loses the Granite Ally +1/+1. Now just rallies. Golden Aegis goes from 4 mana to 5 mana instead. Still gives the barrier to the. I think this is really interesting because now you have to actually choose between the two, whereas before Golden Aegis is just always the better one, and if you really want more rallies, you run Relentless Pursuit. Now it's actually a choice. Like some decks will probably run 3 Relentless Pursuits, some decks will run 3 Golden Aegis. Maybe you just run rally anymore at all, but I think it's still a very powerful effect. Probably won't die out, and as a passionate rally player myself, I'm happy that I still can play in a rally even if it doesn't give back. That they didn't just completely kill the cards like I saw. Put the 6 mana for the chase synergies. Doesn't exist. But yeah, I'm happy that they didn't completely kill cards. Yeah, what do you think?
I'm gonna be honest. When I saw the I'm a lot of I'm referring to it a lot, like the patch preview tweet. When I saw it, and I saw like Lee Sin getting nerfed, Ionian cards getting nerfed, and especially also Rally getting nerfed, I was like, damn, I don't have a deck I can play anymore after this patch. Because I really like Demacia and Ionia. So yeah, when I first saw this, I was like, I hate this game. But now actually seeing them in action, I guess the Relentless Pursuit is now maybe even more attractive than playing Golden Ages. And I guess it's okay. I mean, it's so difficult again to like evaluate if these rallies will be played or not. But it's just it also makes a lot of sense with the text that is written at the side there. That it's just decks have been getting better at utilizing rallies, and so they have to be like slowly but surely getting adjusted again and again. And I think it's probably a fine and healthy change for the game, even though I didn't even feel like rally was that much of a problem for the game right now.
I just noticed something. Relentless Pursuit doesn't target anymore, so it doesn't work with Tarek anymore. Really
Yep,
big
sorry,
change.
Terry.
Oh, that is true.
That's
Wait,
my
that's
favorite
huge.
deck. I was playing like Tarek Poppy 2 Masters the last 3 seasons in a row. Shout out to Restless, who's dead now.
I didn't even realize that.
That's kind of
That's
crazy.
a good point.
Jinden, what do you think?
They didn't nerf 3 mana rally, so Demacia decks is still strong.
To see what Restless, our Ibex guy, is saying about.
Oh wait, what is the 3 mana rally?
3 mana rally is Cataclysm. You put it on
Yes,
Scout, that's a
Cataclysm.
3 mana rally right there.
Yeah, but what deck, like Quinn Wayne, I guess.
Yes, Queen Vein.
I played
But every other deck.
one of Cataclysm
Everything
and
else,
Scouts.
then yeah, you have to play with either Vein, I guess, for a tumble, or just the 4 cost. Unless you're playing a mid-range deck that goes all the way to like turn 8, turn 9, I could see the barrier C play. But other than that, I think Relentless Pursuit is the new Aegis.
Yeah. Okay. Next one is Curse of the Tomb. And this one will make Rikurex sad. And it's now 3 mana instead of 2 mana. Players have been able to combine it with Overwhelmed with huge Nexus damage, while it hasn't crushed when you're at threat. Want to preemptively increase the cost for long-term game health. I don't really have an opinion on the card, didn't really play against it much.
Yeah, same.
Didn't.
I think the card is still broken. Because usually how they play is overwhelm, and then they open and then they spam 3 of these or 2 of these. So by the time they set up all of their units, they have enough mana to play all of these cards. All of 3 of it if they do have it. So I think it's not even a nerf, to be honest. I mean, it hit as a nerf, but it will still work the same way as it did.
Can't generate it by
Yeah.
Seraphine anymore. That's not.
Yeah, exactly. There was like Akshan, Seraphine, right? But the deck wouldn't work anyways anymore. So
Yeah, even if this is 2 cost, the Seraphine nerf and Akshan nerf just killed the deck.
But was it actually like broken last season? I didn't really watch the stats too close.
No, not
Like,
really. It was a very fringe deck. That's the word. That's the correct word for it. Not many people are playing it.
you said you also didn't play against it much.
Yep.
Saga Seeker 1-1 now. If the Expedition was still around, I would be very happy because Saga Seeker was like one of the most broken cards in Expedition ever. Now he's a 1-1. I guess this was like the Pantheon and Terrorist deck around. And Vader definitely got a huge buff by the. Jinden, you said you played Varus, Pain, Varus,
Yeah.
Pantheon.
I played a lot of Pantheon decks. It might still see play, but it's a lot weaker now. Yeah. I think the decks will still see play. The thing that's playing.
yeah, Faded was actually my favorite archetype in the game. The favorite keyword. And I mean, it got like, yeah, adjusted a lot, and there was actually Jason Furant who made like a post saying a Twitter post where he said that thing similar to Fated it existed in Magic and it was utterly broken. And it's quite the same case, I guess, for Legends of Runeterra, where Fated was, yeah, a little
In MTG,
overstated.
it's even more broken because
yeah.
everything's regen.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, all units has regen.
You have a lot more cheap
Yes.
spells that you can just play for 0 mana, for example.
Yeah, there's also that though. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think just like Akshan Sega Seeker had it like coming for him a lot, like a long time now that he gets nerfed. Again, Pantheon deck 7 broken any metrics, and especially with Wayne getting nerfed. I don't think Varus Pantheon would have been broken if Sega Seeker didn't get nerfed. Yeah, but I guess it makes sense. Like again, like on Twitter, everyone was like crying again and again about this card. So I guess giving people what they want, even if the nerf wasn't exactly needed, is fine. I guess. I'm a little salty about this, but yeah, it's fine.
I mean, I'm a Pantheon player, and when I was playing Pantheon, I always thought of myself, this card needs to be a 1/1. It's way too strong.
Yeah,
So I think it's fine.
Fine. Again,
I wish there was like a 2-mana Fated card. That would be so cool.
It is.
I think that would make the Fated archetype utterly broken because you have
Yeah,
so
it
many
would.
3-drops you can utilize now.
It will be way too consistent.
Look, 2 mana Fated.
Yeah, make
Oh,
this
there we go. There's a
target,
2-mana Fated.
Make it target region, and yeah.
Targan Bandle City Pantheon.
Yeah, that's like
easy,
intended.
yeah, no.
Like with Yumi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some of this, like when Fated was released and it had horrible stats, so no.
I think it's once again making it a little bit more polarizing against like these early game decks. And if you play mid range, you don't really care if it's like a 5/5 or a 6/6. It's still grow very far. Now, weaker early game.
It's definitely more fair to play against because it isn't as easy anymore to trade 2-for-1 or 3-for-1 with this card.
Yes.
I guess it's always 3-for-2. I guess what you mean. Next card, Ionian Hookmaster. I was so surprised when I didn't see this card on this overview, but they happened to add it later on because don't know which kind of Twitter people you follow, but every second post was like, for me, Ionian Hookmaster is too strong. Bias is a card just forced into every deck. Was just like was random 3/2 all the time, and just had no downside. 1/1. Now
And you can transfer the stat.
You can transfer the stats. You draw a card if it dies. 2-mana 3/2. Last breath. Get equipment.
Yeah, I mean it's similar to maybe this is a reach, but of like Sharpsight, the old Sharpsight. Like Sharpsight was included in every single Demacia deck. And it's like a similar metric here that Ionian Hookmaster is just included in every single
Ionian and Noxus deck.
Noxus deck. Yeah. It also says so in the explanation of the nerf. So yeah, it's just if you see like a card being a 100% inclusion rate, you know something is wrong.
Do you still play the card because the scout weapon is so good, or do you?
Yeah, I think so. Or what do you think, Shin?
I'm not sure actually. This is one of the cases where I'm not sure if it will still see play or not.
Maybe in some aggro decks it might not, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in like some combo decks, like for example, I guess you didn't play it in Pantheon anyways, right? But for example, in these index, I think you will probably still play it because getting Scout or the Overwhelm is just so huge.
Even just like a 2/2 fearsome, draw a card and last breath is powerful.
Actually, there's a funny idea. What if you change this card to have 0 health? And then if you pick like a weapon that doesn't give you health, you get the weapon immediately to hand. Would it still be playable?
Isn't this like the idea of the ephemeral one? The weapon and get it immediately. I think some decks would actually like to not have to kill their own Hookmaster or get the cloud weapon.
Yeah, I guess you could play Virus, right?
Okay, variety card buffs. Power with a great. Create a Yordle, summon a Yordle, grant other allied Yordles, grant all Yordles. I don't really like the grant all Yordles. I guess it's on attack, so it's like an aura, but attack makes sense. Wait, create a Yordle, summon a Yordle.
Yeah, when I was reading this, I didn't get it. Even now, I don't get it.
Instead of manifest a Yordle, summon it? Do you manifest and summon the Yordle? Do you summon a random Yordle?
Like you can't just. What is the. When I'm summoned, changes to play. Wait, isn't it like. It's when I'm summoned, create a random Yordle, now play manifest a Yordle.
Yeah, but why does it say summon a Yordle now?
Yeah.
Because
I think it's the wrong way around, right?
And then
like something is messed up there. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess we have to go from the
indie
picture
company,
that
you know.
right?
Yeah. I mean, I saw some people experiment with this card before, but always felt a little bit awkward. Just the Yordle keyword, like there are so many weird Yordle cards around, like these two. You don't really get that much out of a random Yordle, and then the attack makes it a 3/2 for 3 mana that draws your card. Right now it's a little bit better because you can pick the Yordle you want, and it also buffs itself. It doesn't just die anymore. Maybe, but I don't think it will bring Banner City back to playability by its own.
Yeah, I think it's still a bad card until somebody creates a good deck around them. I don't know. Not playable in my eyes.
Yeah, actually, something else is I think the dev team has killed it with the flavor text or editor's notes. Because they explain a lot of why they change stuff, and this time they have so many puns in it. It's just really fun to read through them. It makes reading through the patch notes even more fun now.
Yeah, I like how they put a lot of effort into reading this. Like looking for other games that just usually put out changes, or I guess most games don't do these big balance changes. Like if you look at Magic, they just change like 3 cards half a year. Yu-Gi-Oh! Just puts out the new patch list without many changes, without many explanations. I really like how they write these and explain what they are thinking with.
Yeah, also, I mean, I'm not sure if you can like pinpoint it to this one change, but since Zero Nina, the new community manager, joined the team, I feel like, yeah, stuff has definitely improved.
Yeah.
I mean, there was still like some typos in the patch notes before, like Tumble was shown as Wayne, or like Ionian Hookmaster was shown as Fishfight or something. But yeah, even though like there are still some typos or stuff, I think that overall with more comments about cards and changes, I think people have changed for the better since he joined the team.
Yeah. Okay. We also have a change to Swole Scout and Yordle Newbie. And this one is just interesting. If you didn't know what these cards do, you are not alone. A lot of people knowing what they did. You can look over here on the side. Soul Scout used to be weird. Random summon, if you've added 2 cards, grant me elusive. So it was like a 4 mana 4/2 elusive. Then this guy was like a 3 mana 4/4. Now they're just completely redesigned. They are now Yordle synergies, so Bandle Timu has been abandoned. This is a 3 mana 2/2. When I'm summoned, grant me +1/+1 for each other Yordle ally you have. So a little bit of the crowd favorite theme. Then is a 1 mana 0/2. When you summon another Yordle, give me +2/+0. This reminds me a lot of the elf guy that untaps when you play an elf. Just want to. They are completely new cards. Didn't expect that. Really see a Yordle deck now. And
2 bad cards. So Soul Scout, you'll only see display once you manifest it from maybe a mayor. You can get it from a mayor. You have a 5 wide board, and you can play it 3. You can play it for next turn without your board
like,
getting
it's
wiped.
not
Maybe you pick
multi-region,
this.
right? Like it's not
Mhm.
multi-region.
Oh, multi-region.
So
Okay, it's a bad example, but you guys get my point. You play this once you get it from another. Your dull newbie will not see play. What they should have done was, instead of give me +2/+0 this round, they should have said grant me +1/+0 this round. That would have made more sense, in my opinion.
like just grant me not this round, right? Just permanently.
Yeah, just grant me +1 attack if you summon another Yordle. Yeah, I think the fact that you have to summon another Yordle is hard enough, and you're only getting an upside of 2 attack per turn. It's not good enough.
Yeah, especially if you like summon only one Yordle, it's like 1 mana 2/2, which is
Yes,
average.
and then it goes back to 0-2.
And then if you get open attacked, like then this card is just useless. So
And then if it goes like 10-2, it will just get blocked by a puny 1/1
yeah.
spider. Right?
I really like what they're doing with these old cards. They're just completely redesigning them and giving them a new identity,
Yes,
and you just
I agree.
have a reason to ever try them out. Okay, Arcada will probably, I don't know, maybe try it out. Shatter, I was like, just make Shatter burst spell already. It's okay, we'll be fine. But they are afraid of the power of the Frostbites and make it 1 cost instead. And Rhyme Wolf.
Wait. You want to make this burst speed, but then it's just better than a flash freeze, right?
Oh, yeah, but you have to adjust it somehow. Like,
Combo speed.
just give it
There we go.
like
Something in the middle.
-4, -0 or something. Focus speed, I mean. Focus speed will also be into it. But like, can we agree that this doesn't play still?
Yeah, I mean, again,
yeah.
I love the flavor text of giving Frostbite not the cold shoulder anymore.
Great.
But yeah, it's just, I mean, it's just another random Frostbite buff that doesn't change anything. It's like making a dead archetype I mean, it's dead, and even if you give it like one less mana or like one more mana to play, it doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
Shadow is like one of the most common cards in Power of Champion. Big change for Power. Coming into it right now. Every second Feather deck has Shadow
Yay.
in it. Talking about
Wow.
Power of Champions. Gold Scavenger gets changed from a 1/3 to a 0/4. That's actually similar to my proposed change, that it gets +2/+1. It's actually the same change. Instead of giving it +2/+1, they make it an 0/4. I would have liked +2/+1 a little bit more, because then it's not just a dead card if you don't hit your 8-cost card, but a 3/4 for 2 mana. It's actually scary, I feel like. Maybe it's still a bad card, but I don't really like these high roll cards where you just, if you have the card in your hand, really game breaking, and if you don't have it, it's totally bad. Do you think, Leer?
To be honest, I don't care about this card.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
never played this ramp archetype, and in some, I mean, I think it's definitely an improvement, because like a 3/4 unit can block better than a 4/3 one. Yeah, that's all. I guess it can now block maybe two attackers against aggro, which is cool.
Any feelings about this one?
I can see it. Maybe it's his play.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean,
Okay.
it doesn't change the fact that it's still awkward, right? So yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's always difficult where this card looks okayish, but you just don't know if the archetype, as a whole is good enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Some quality of life, small buffs to random cards here. Hex Splitterator does 6 damage now, that makes it easier to kill something. Also makes it similar to Sunburst now. Doesn't silence. And Celestial Impact heals your Nexus 3. Pretty random, I would say. But I guess I can't maybe make it 6 mana, because then it would just be Fallen Comet. Literally. Do these matter at all?
Well, Jinden, how do you feel about healing your Nexus 3?
Well, explain to me, guys, what changed? It's the same card, right?
Yeah, like it's a buff to this one. This card.
Path of Champions.
Anyone remember this card? Okay.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Okay.
I mean, it's just bad cards that got a little something.
Ravenbloom, I was like reverted down to 10, but they just get it to 11. And like Lord Broadman is still bad. I was like, make him 5 mana 3/5. Maybe play, but 6 mana 3/5. And Ravenbloom,
Yeah.
does this bring Annie back?
Well, my
It's a
first
tier
thought was kind
2
of
deck.
like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
It can be a tier 2 deck now that it's went one countdown less. There might be a Annie deck again, but it's not going to be strong. It will be a tier 2 maximum. Yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, so my first feeling was that they didn't make it countdown 10 because they didn't want to revert the nerfs they did. But then later on we will see like the revert to, I mean, spoilers, the revert to sign-in. So I think yeah, the team is just upfront with being like, oh, okay, we made a mistake, so we can revert stuff. So yeah, they probably tested this a lot and decided 11 is like the best countdown. When Ravenbloom was nerfed, it was extremely random to me, and I didn't feel like Ravenbloom on 10 was ever a problem. I, to be honest, can't really see how just one less countdown makes the deck suddenly playable again. But yeah, I guess I agree with Jinden that there can be some tier 2 decks.
I noted the Lord Broadman because I want to give a little bit of a flashback to the people who watched this like for a long time. Like when we did our any review, I remember just saying Lord Broadman 6 mana 2/4. Do we have to read any more? And it was with Vic, with Tiburon and Zero, and I gave it a 2, and like Zero gave it an 8, and Vic gave it an 8, and they were all saying Lord Broadman is like the most broken card because it just kills stuff. Like 6 mana, just destroy a unit. It's vengeance in Noxus. And I just wanted to point out, I was right. It saw no play, and probably will still see no play.
I mean, it's a slow
To
speed
be fair, I would
vengeance in that case, right? And you don't play the Senna spell, for example, and then in SI, so not sure about that.
What do you want to say?
I just wanted to say I probably would have sided with the other guys. I would have gave it an 8. It looked really scary at first, but yeah, it didn't see play. So you got another point
Yes.
against me.
They laughed at me with my 2 out of 10. Okay. Anyways, let's move on. It's just a funny story. To a card you wanted to talk about. Sinan is changed back from a 3/3 to a 3/5. What do you think about this one?
Good buff, really good buff. But guess what? A lot of Ionia stuff back there got nerfed, like Pot. And Pot is a huge part of how strong Ionia deck is right now. So even though this is a good buff, Ionia is still probably weak after that Telstone nerf. I meant Telstone, by the way, not Pot. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, when I see Sinan, I don't think of like Ezreal Cannon or Ari Cannon or some recall stuff. I usually think about actually Ari Lulu.
Yes, I love it.
It was like, it's quite old of an archetype now, I guess, but it was this cool archetype with Flame Chompers and Lulu. And just adding Ari to it, I mean, Ari Flame Chompers is not the most insane combo ever, but just having Sinan was able to let you outvalue a lot of removal
Small
typed
units.
decks. For example, like against I mean, I guess outvalue is not the right word, but like find more finishers. For example, back then Darkness was fairly popular, and Sinan just allowed you to beat Darkness just by drawing a lot of cards, and Darkness not being able to punish you. And I to be honest, I don't think that Ari Lulu will be a good enough deck. And I mean, even when Sidon was not nerfed, it wasn't a real deck for quite some time now. But yeah, that's just a flashback when I see Sidon. I don't know.
It's a cool card, to be honest. I remember Ari Cannon still, and also Ari Lulu is one of my favorite decks. Let's hope it brings it back. Next change is also a rework. Loro Duelist. This guy used to be a 3 mana 4/2 play if/grant an ally challenger. I don't even remember. Now he's a 2 mana 2/2 play grant challenger to an ally in hand. And Leah, you said you wanted to talk about this one.
Yeah, you know, before this podcast, we said like let's pick 3 cards that we want to look at, and I said Laurent Duelist. And like Jin comes in and like after 3 cards into the podcast, he's like, "Oh, Laurent Duelist, he's so good. He will bring
Yes.
action zero." Hey,
You took it away.
I wanted to talk about this. Come on.
You took it away from me, so I had to scroll all the way down and pick Abomination. I had no choice other than Abomination to talk about.
Okay. Yeah, because when I was looking at Laurent Duelist, I was like, this looks kind of cool. And then I was thinking about which archetypes can actually utilize it.
Every single Demacia deck.
Yeah, but I was feeling like Fated, for example, doesn't really need it. And I guess with Quinn it could be interesting, right? But yeah, what came to my mind was also Akshan Silver, which is like if you put it on Silver, or even if you put it on Akshan on 3, it's like it's actually really exciting, I think.
Yes. I already see the broken stuff.
The problem The problem is that a lot of Demacian cards, like especially like Rally and Akshan got nerfed, and Akshan Civil was always like how Jinden said it, on the fringe of the meta. So I'm not sure if the other Demacia nerfs or nerfs to Akshan are too big to make Akshan
This will
Civil
see
good
play
enough.
in Worlds. Trust. This will
Oh,
see play
nice.
in Worlds.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a really good card. Also with the 2/2 body, it can block fairly well. So yeah, there's not a lot of.
I'm talking about the deck, not just this card.
Okay.
Action Zero, yeah. That's how good this is, in my opinion.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's really good as well. I have a little quiz for you too. That like I hope you have seen Honored Lord before. It's like a whole archetype.
What
of
is Honored Lord?
planet.
What?
No.
Oh, I see.
Oh,
2 mana,
yes.
3/2. And there's another card that also has this text: the first time I challenge an enemy. 5 points.
You don't play this card.
Yeah,
You play another card. You play the spell.
yes.
I
the,
forgot what its name.
Royal Guard, whatever. But there's another card that also has the same text: the first time I challenge an enemy, do something.
Yeah,
You know that?
it's Sharp level 2.
Oh, is
Yeah, Char
Chevalier?
level 2. Yes, and another one. Chevalier is every time it's a little bit different. It's also strike, not challenge.
Yeah, but Sharp level 2, right?
Yeah, but it's even another card. 4 mana. It's a 4/4. It's Gallant Rider. Did you know this card exists?
This was the card I was talking about. I thought this was Chevalier, but no.
Ah, okay. Yeah, but
Oh,
like,
that's so interesting.
it's a card nobody ever saw before. Maybe now. Maybe Copium. Yeah, probably Action Silver. I agree.
Is a 4 mana 5/5 good enough? I'm not sure.
5/5 Challenger and tough. Think of the Kaiser value.
Yes, it's really good. You play that with Silver as your 4 drops, and you're done.
Nice.
Yeah, I guess it's just a better the 4/5 Challenger Dragon, right? It's just an easier way of that, I guess.
Yes, it's better.
Yeah, better Screeching Dragon. Interesting.
Like, look at this guy.
Wait, how is Conansson like? He has so much game knowledge. I mean,
did
already
you see
learned
all
something in the
my
podcast.
lists of like literally show this to the viewers? Like I have all this game knowledge because I make gigantic lists of stuff. All of the cards. Typed out the card text of all of these.
Madman.
Dude, I'm in a server with you, and you were like, "Hey, is there an easy way to sort by name all the card arts?" And there wasn't, and then you just did it by hand. I mean, you're just a psychic.
So that's why I know a lot about these wording stuff and the rule, and didn't figure out how to import the card text. I just typed it out. Other left side stuff is imported, but didn't figure out the card. That's why I know these random strange cards nobody remembers. Anyways, let's move on to Ibaros. And you mean this abomination, right?
Yes.
Okay. Then it was like, is this the abomination?
I mean, actually, there are a lot of cards in this patch notes that are abominations, right?
Wait, a lot of cards. Tell me another one.
Oh no, it was just a joke because a lot of cards are just really bad.
Oh. Okay, that makes sense. And Ibaros now doesn't die to silence anymore. And at the point 30 instead of a 29/29 is what it needs to be pushed over.
Yeah, man. I mean, read these flavor texts and tell me they are not funny. Hello?
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
This is so good.
Did this card see any experimentation at all, or did it just like vanish?
It's
Yeah.
saw play on Nami Varus. I think that's pretty much it. They just saw play on Nami Varus and nothing else.
Oh, I saw some extremely wonky Twisted Fate Pantheon deck that utilized Dark and Harpoon. I don't
That's
think it
cool.
was a real deck. You know, it's like one of these decks you see like one time in your life and never again.
Yes. It's a
Yeah.
copium deck.
I mean, it was brought to Ages, right? So
It brought to Aegis?
yeah, we played against it.
Where's my opponent that were bringing those kind of decks? This mode.
I mean, we got beat by Varus Nami, so yeah.
I don't think this will change a lot. Kind of like
Nope.
nice quality of life. Safety Inspector, I got this one. 5 mana 5/5 instead of 6 mana 6/6. Probably won't matter, right?
None.
I mean, in which kind of deck do you want to play it in Talia 6? But it already has a lot of burn with 6, right? So I don't see Safety Inspector being like a good inclusion there.
I saw it like once or twice, and it's definitely one of my fun cards because like I used to do a lot of champ roll decks where I just roll into 6, but I have to play in Banner City, and then you just have no way to actually get any landmarks to blow up something. And just play this for fun.
Can you actually refresh me how the landmark destruction was changed last patch? Because it says so in like the explanation of the text, but I don't remember anymore.
Like if you blow up your opponents, destroy landmarks, they don't get the stuff anymore. Like if they have the Sarcophagus in the field that gets like the 5/3, then you blow it up, and they don't get the 5/3 anymore. Change.
Can you target enemy landmarks with inspection past?
So way too broke. So what I did with this one, for example, I played Banner City Shyvana with 6. Then I was playing a Grand Plaza and all the extra Grand Plazas.
No. You can already stop there. You don't need to continue talking. You know, like Banner City, what?
Like we have some people who compete in Worlds here, and we have some people who play the game and have fun with it.
True.
Distinction. Okay, let's move on to Escaped Abomination. Oh no, it's just a 3/3, not a 4/3. Sad. Yeah, Jinden, what do you think?
It might see play like all Abomination decks. It might see play. Probably not good, but might see play.
Do you think it could work with Nightfall or Fearsome?
I was thinking more around Nasus decks. But you said Nightfall, Fearsomes. If it's Nightfall or Fearsomes, no. Because neither of those kind of archetypes play Abomination.
Yeah, and not much self-kill stuff, right?
There's no synergies.
So would you say this is like a buff because it now can trade better, or is it actually?
Oh, the X2 HP is huge. It doesn't get Mystic Shotted or a lot of spells that can deal 2. It can also trade now to 2x units. So it can trade maybe 2 for 1 card value. So yeah.
Would you say
I like the change.
It would be too good at 4/3?
It would be too good at 4/4. 4/3, 3/3 is kind of almost the same.
Yes.
The HP mattered big time.
Yes.
I mean, when I look at this, like 2 mana 3/3 is like almost average, right? So
No.
having like this mechanic where you have to kill your own unit before getting to it kind of feels a little.
I mean, you have to keep in mind there's also synergy behind it, right? You play the 2 mana 1/1 that creates this. You get like other kind of synergy with the other cards.
Yeah.
Like Blighted Caretaker, the 0 mana 3/2 Butcher, the 4/1 that draws 2. There's good synergies with it. So even if it's a 3/3, it's good enough, in my opinion. It's a fair deck. If it comes to see the Day of Light in rank, it will just be a fair deck.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Next card, Bone Club. This is the one where there's like the one equipment that gave the one archetype buff up, and it was already a 5 mana big equipment. Now it's even bigger. It's a 5/5. Funny thing is now Tarkas is by the lore only a 1/3 or a 0/3. The Bone Club. I guess it's fine. I also like this flavor text, but competitively this card
so
is
hilarious, dude. Flavor text is just so good. Especially with like the editor's note, ... It's like...
What created this card, by the way?
No, it's a
Or do you
physical
just
card.
run
You
it
can
as
put it in a
a
deck.
common card?
It's also part of Power of Champions 1, and 1 is like the worst champion in Power of Champions. So of this Power of Champions,
I see.
going to be
Yeah, you have to main deck it.
Okay, so it's a bad card.
yeah,
Yep.
just by design. Like I think they wanted Freljord to have bad equipment because they have to go to other regions to buff up that equipment. A bad card. I don't know why they buff it now. I can only think of Power of Champions.
Mm-hmm.
So Cultist Z is next. A 3/3 now, Shadowblade Fanatic, and God never really saw play as a 3/2. As a 3/3, maybe Mark reminds me of the Investigator, the Mage Seeker Investigator. Kinda good in Expedition. Never made it to Constructed Land. Jinden, what do you got us any hope?
TLDR, no.
Okay.
The buff is good. Like it doesn't get Mystic Shotted like the problem with Abomination. But the only deck I could see you could fit in with this card is Zed Hecarim, and Zed Hecarim is a bad deck, right?
Yep.
So even though it might see on a deck, it's still a bad deck, right? So yeah, the buff makes him survive more, but it will not help him win games. I guess it's the best way to say.
Yeah, I completely agree with Jin. I mean, if not even a bad deck like that, Hecarim includes it, then it's just hopeless.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next change is ridiculously minuscule. Rune Rider goes from 7/3 to 8/3. Like it's funny how little this matters because it doesn't have overwhelm and you can't give it overwhelm, and there's no
The
real
same card.
difference. Same card exactly. No difference between 7 and 8.
Yep.
Literally no difference. And yeah, doesn't matter at all. Moving on. Gorlif. Base health changes. Gorlif's effect is that she on summon swaps your health and the nexus health, so you don't just go down to 10 anymore. If you summon him, you go down to 12 instead, or up to 12, depends on what it is. Still not a competitive card, right? Like 9 mana.
I mean, there's this card that summons an ephemeral unit of like your hand, right? The SI card.
Etheria Matron.
I guess that's the only archetype that could
Or
utilize
Spectral
it.
Matron, not
Yeah.
Etheria Matron.
It's a real matron, like just the whole combo.
Imagine her final transformation, she becomes a ghost.
Absolutely. But yeah, probably. I was like afraid of them turning it to 8 and then suddenly you would timelines into it and then it would just be the funniest thing ever where you just play against timelines, bring it to 2 life and then they pillar into Gorlif and go back up to 10. It would have been awful. Luckily, I didn't do that.
I saw some game where it was created by a Tribeam Improbulator.
Oh
and
boy.
it was like a competitive game in like some stream. And that was actually super fun and entertaining to see.
Yeah.
Because it almost won the guy that was usually losing the game. That's like the only time I saw where Goddess was ever played.
He's like the best card in Earth, like ultra rapid draw. One of the best cards. Just slam into an action 1, and if it 1 doesn't do anything, then it's Earth. So okay. Next card, Dusk Rider. They changed it to 4 mana instead. Kinda wild. It was a 5 mana 3/5, now it's a 4 mana 3/4. Cool finisher for Nightfall decks. High cost has put people to.
Yeah, I actually like this because I'm not sure if you ever want to main deck it, but a lot of times you create it with the Unspeakable Horror.
Mhm.
And a lot of times it was like, oh, it has so much attack and it's actually really cool, a really cool finisher to create. But then it was just a little bit too expensive. So I think this definitely is a considerable buff to that. But I'm not sure if you want to main deck it. What do you think, Jinden?
I was thinking about it might see play, but nah, it won't. It could have seen play maybe if they changed the stats to 2-5 instead of a 3-4. That could have been better, but that might have been way too strong. But yeah, this is a good buff for decks that creates this card. But other than that, it will not see play.
Yeah. Okay, next one, Reverse Row. This is actually one of my favorite cards in the game, but unfortunately it's just so slow. Now it's a little bit faster, 5 mana to 4 mana. Big problem was, like I usually play this with Jinx, with a lot of 1-drops. But the problem is, when I count down, so you play this for 4, you get nothing. And then, later turn, you get a 1-drop, and then you get another 1-drop. And then
Have you
after 2
tried
turns,
Talia Reverse Vow?
don't you like run out of board space really hard?
Hmm.
Like you have reverse row, you get a 1-drop, then you have 2, then you play Talia, reverse row, you have 4, then you get 2 more 1-drops, then you have like not that many in total. Board is full then.
Oh, I think I saw like Ricardo play it once on stream.
Yeah, I almost lost to it in rank.
I think the change was
The thing is actually kind of scary. They will have a full board of 10 10s that are all 1-drops eventually, that all has fearsome.
Interesting. It's like so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so difficult to see this application with Talia, right?
Yeah,
I mean, yeah. Okay.
it's a landmark, but
I was also playing a meta deck and I almost lost. And the only reason why I didn't lose was because he misplayed.
Oh,
interesting. I would love to see this card be more competitive. The Fishbones archetype, my favorite ones, we just play all the 1-drops, 1-cost guys, maybe.
yeah. Then do you think this is like somehow playable now outside of this Talia combo?
Outside of Talia combo, I don't know. If it's inside Talia combo, it might see a play for a day or two, and then people realize it's still bad, and then probably stop. But there is a world that it might be really good with Talia. Other than that, yeah, unplayable. Only with Talia. Playable only with Talia.
I sadly have to. Okay, Spirits Unleashed. I like how they like show only the Udir's Spirit Unleashed because they don't want you to know that you can actually put it into a deck. It's so funny to me. Like a real card you can put into a deck, but just like specifically for Udir's gem spell, not for the actual card. And now it gives +1/+1 to allies everywhere, which is something I guess. Doesn't really make sense anymore to deal 1 to everything with the new Udir. Doesn't really matter, I think, right?
Yeah, no, it's just with this 2-drop card, right? I just don't care. It's like in Udir, which is just a dead archetype. It's just, this won't change anything.
Okay, another card I had to look up when preparing on the name. Wrought Colossus. Created copy now costs 4. Did it cost 8 before? First time I'm equipped, create a 4 cost. The funny thing is, I thought this was costing 0, and I thought it would still be unplayable. I didn't know it was like a full cost copy. 4 cost copy.
Yeah, it's just too slow.
Way too slow.
I think this is kind of interesting now because there are some cards where you can summon from hand. I think there's like a slow speed SI spell that summons like a 1/1 ephemeral copy or something.
It is on the board, Splinter Soul. And
yeah,
Splinter
so
Soul.
maybe it works with that. I mean, I don't think any deck wants to main deck Splinter Soul, but
it transfers its stats though, right? So it creates a 4-mana 1/1 of that.
It grants the equipment spells. It's still a 4-mana 8/8,
Oh,
but
it's
it's like
plus.
plus.
Not an
okay.
exact copy.
I thought
right?
it copied stats. Okay, gotcha.
I don't know. I like this like possibility of combos. I mean, probably the combos won't be strong enough, but now it has just some cool combo potential.
It's a control card trying to be combo. Like pick
That's
a poison.
Pretty good summary, actually.
Yeah.
And to mention Splinter Soul, it's really, really good with Fated. Like, Fated and Shadow Isles is one of the best, funniest archetypes, I should say, not best. Because, like, Shadow Isles Tailstone, every single mode of it triggers Fated. Mark of the Eyes, Crumble, and Spirit Journey.
Yeah, right. Crumble triggers Fated. How insane, man.
It's like Pantheon level up. Like the combo
Yeah,
is
so-
you level up Carrick, then you go Splinter Soul, make your 1/1 ephemeral indestructible, and then you crumble it.
And you also Spirit's Journey your own unit to level up Pantheon, right?
Yes,
I'm pretty
that once.
sure Nips made a deck. It was Cyan Trash with this in mind and Splinter Soul, where he just rallies like multiple times with Cyan.
And also, you can reset your Pantheon. Like if you don't like what your Pantheon rolled in keywords, you can
Right.
just Spirit Journey.
Mm.
Good.
Also, on the Pantheon deck, they will just give Mark of the Eyes as well on Cyan just to kill it after the attack,
Actually
which is
cool.
pretty nice.
Interesting, yeah.
Just a lot of combos with that deck.
And was the deck actually viable or?
He got to Diamond, I think it was last season, and I forgot what was the meta deck. It was either last season or 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, I think there's some creative combos that, especially for, I mean, I guess it was also discussed with the rotations, right? But there are just so many interactions that you can't really test everything. And I think even with rotation, it's just
The more I
takes
think
some,
about
like,
it, yeah, go on. Finish what you're trying to say.
yeah, it's just you need like there will be like always some person that is just so creative that they find like in interactions that you have never thought about before. So it's really difficult, I think, for a developer team to like think about everything.
Yeah, I was thinking about it now. This is probably just a worst Cyan trying to go combo. Because at least Cyan is a 7 mana and rallies multiple times. This starts to go online at turn 10 with 3 of these. But with Cyan, you kill them before it even gets to turn 9, right?
Let's move on. Darken Ballista doesn't damage itself anymore. It was indeed thematically awesome, but now it's just a card. Do you run this now? I was like giving the original card a 8 out of 10, so probably I was wrong on that. Do you run this now at least? Still feel like 1 mana plus 2/+0.
What's the Darken unit? I've
The-
never seen this card.
What? It's the Naganeka of Tsureta. It's a 7/8 mana, 5/13, round end the strongest enemy and ice strike each other. Basically.
Still a bad card.
It's Bone Splinters from Magic, it has to be good.
Opium.
Leer, do you agree? It's a bad card.
Yep, I mean, you don't want to main deck it, right? The reason that equipments are so strong is because you can improvise them.
Yes, that's right, because you have like the Fisherman.
Yeah, and the Darken weapons, you basically run them because they have good second modes, right? Like Lodestone, you only run it because Horazi can win you games, and also for the Darken Bloodletters, you play it because Sholani can really pop off. Or, I mean, for Bloodletters, it's also good for like Akshan Landmark Advancement, right? But overall, you want to play Darken weapons also for the second mode in the late game. And yeah, I mean, as you could see from like Jin's reaction, right, he was like waiting for what the Darken unit is, and since it's a really bad one, you can't play the card.
Yeah. Pathless Ancient, that's actually a creative buff. I was like just turning into 4 or something, but it costs 2 less for each unit recall this round. Now before it was just 2 less, now you can make it a 0 mana 4/3. Probably like one guy who makes a funny combo deck with it where you just spam and buff stuff, and then you just summon 6 of these guys at once.
I guess it's free with one Homecoming, right? Because Homecoming recalls 2 units.
Yeah.
Yep.
Still probably fringe.
I mean, it's unplayable.
Yeah.
It's still unplayable regardless. Yeah.
Maybe if it had a quickie one.
You'd rather play any other 4-drop in Ionia than this.
Isn't there this new 4-drop that draws you a card if you activated Flow? That's something you would definitely play first, right?
It 4-drop that draws a card when you activate.
It was released this season. I don't know. I don't know how it's called anymore.
I don't know either. Okay, Void Seeker can now hit champions once evolved. Not really relevant at all.
I mean, if it was fast speed, it would be cool,
But it's Shurima. The identity is you only have like slow and focus speed. You can't just make a fast speed.
I mean, quicksand is fast speed.
Yes, it's not fast speed. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I see. Wow.
Like there's literally only one or two fast speed spells, and one is Hourglass.
Yeah, but I think we all agree that this is still unplayable, right?
Yeah, this still will not see play.
Okay, the last one, Bendel Tailstones. Keeper's Verdict changes to Electro Harpoon. Not the Harpoon from Bilgewater, it's the 2-mana discard a card, deal 2 to unit and 2 to the enemy nexus. You have a little bit of burn in here.
What's Keeper's Verdict?
Plus the 6 mana,
It's
put on top.
the pop heap spell.
Oh. Interesting.
But that's leaving.
Yeah,
so
this is better.
better, yes. Okay.
Yeah, so actually, fun side note, now I won't be misplaying with this card anymore. Last week, I was on stream on Aegis, and I misplayed with this card. Actually picking Keeper's Verdict. So now I can't make that misplay. I wish that card was adjusted before.
What was the misplay? Like, did you just misclick or what?
Oh no, I saw that my opponent had a 6-mana deny in hand. I was playing Fist Lee, and I just generated this Tailstones, and I was picking. I mean, it's so specific. I was picking Keeper's Verdict to shoot away a Victor with like 6 or 7 attack and lifesteal. But yeah, through those pranks, I saw that my opponent could just deny it, and I was just still picking it. And yeah,
Dead.
it was a brain dead moment.
Okay. Well, that's the patch. Let's look at the rest a little bit. We have a new Ari skin, but just alternate art. Jinden, do you like skins at all? Skins? I'm not sure if it's just on my end, but
Could you repeat that, Jin?
Yeah.
Oh no, he's gone.
he's gone. He made it through the reviews, but
The important stuff.
maybe it comes back. Just Leer, do you like any of these new skins, or do you use skins at all? Like the kid?
Yeah, I to be honest, I'm not that huge of a fan of these Spirit Blossom skins. I think the Ari one looks cool, and the Yasu one as well. I think the Yasu one is the best one.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Hello,
Yes,
we can
you're
hear you.
back.
Jin.
Okay.
What
Okay.
did you say?
I
about
wanted
the
to say
skins?
that I'm a free-to-play player, so I don't really care.
Yeah.
Okay. I only
Actually,
get the ones that are like having different develop animations and stuff, so getting any. Not like really paying just for a PNG. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
actually, I'm quite the frugal guy that doesn't really spend his money, even though I like earn my money with like writing articles for Mastering Runeterra and stuff. And I just started thinking about Legends of Runeterra is a game I love and that I spend a lot of time in and I want to see grow. So recently, I actually started buying skins, not because I think the skins are like essential to my game experience, but just because I want to support the game. So yeah, I'm not sure if I
Leer,
will. Sorry,
do you
what are you saying?
do you
I think
We
it's
can't
dead.
understand.
Hello.
Oh boy. It's really shattered.
But it's fine. We got. Oh no, he's got. But we got through the important part.
The people who made it this far to the review will stick with us even with technical difficulties. That's fine. Okay, but yeah, thank you for supporting the game. Test, Jinden, are you back?
Now, or
No.
I don't think so.
oh,
You can just listen and we will finish this and it will be fine. It's just like bug fixes after all. I just wanted to point out, I really like how they fixed the Senna effect. Did you know what happened with this one, Leer?
No clue actually.
Because in Path of Champions, you have Vega, who reduces your darkness to burst speed. But with Senna, it was decelerating it to fast speed again. That's what they fixed. And I like how they took the time and actually posted this on Twitter. And they
Oh, that's cool.
worked on this. And all of this is just Path of Champions based. Die cut off,
Yeah.
5x. Visual bug, Champs visual bug. Victor visual bug, Power of Champions, Wrath of Echoes. So funny. Like who finds this stuff? So.
Yeah, I think this is kind of an dreading part of development where you just have to find all the bugs and there are always more to find. And I think it's nice that they keep fixing bugs, especially in like Path of Champions where I guess it makes up a lot of the player base of the game, right? But yeah, it's just nice that even though like I guess it's still important for the game experience, right? But I guess it's just nice that they keep finding bugs and removing them.
But like, how do you find this specific bug? Like, Wrath of Echoes everywhere buff was only applying to one version of Scale Snapper. Like this card
maybe
has to be like
maybe there's like
ones.
one person, out of like 100,000 players, and he like had this in like a single game, and he just filed a ticket to riot.
I like how it just has 0% win rates. And like how it works, because you have like different cards for each different mode you have. I get why it works this way, but I don't think you would ever discover this. It's just so funny to me. Okay, and that's it. Like, Leah, any last words from a competitive standpoint? Do you think this patch makes for a good Worlds patch?
Actually, this is something I wanted to ask Jinden, because
hello.
usually,
Yes.
hello, you're back.
Am I lagging or?
Better now.
No, you're good.
Okay, perfect.
So
Okay, you were about to ask me something, right?
Yeah. Actually, we usually, with what I found a little difficult was that in the past like 2 or 3 seasonals, we got a balance patch 1 week right before the seasonals, and it was really difficult to prepare and find the best decks and just feel like proficient on decks you wanted to bring to seasonals. This time around, it's a little more time. I think in like 2 weeks on Monday, or no, probably not Monday actually. I think on the 19th November, the World Qualifiers will be held, so it's almost 2 weeks.
Just like 10 days.
Do you think that's enough time to prepare, Jin?
Can you recall me what were the big nerfs from the previous season? Because I kind of forgot. And if you can't remember anything, that's also fine.
From the previous seasons,
What were the big nerfs? Because I can't recall any.
I actually have no clue. But I remember that the meta got taken up quite a bit.
Okay. Yeah, for this patch, this will be really difficult to prepare because Seraphine is dead, and all we've been playing is only Seraphine and Vayne. Vayne will still be playable, but there was way too many Seraphine decks on ladder, so the stats in ladder were all being stored in just one deck, and it was all Seraphine. And now that all of those are gone, everybody has to come up with new decks basically in just a span of 10 days. Which it's not the same as the other seasons where they nerfed this, but it's still playable. I think Seraphine will take a backseat for a lot of lineups.
So do you think that 10 days are actually not enough?
If you play a lot every day, it's probably enough. Or if you have really good friends that knows how to build decks, that's also a thing.
Yeah, actually, I think that's also which we didn't say in the player interview, right? That or in the introduction, that you are, I think, or at least it feels like you're quite the well-connected player, right? You have like in your scrim group people like Robomaster or other experts on specific decks, and I think
Mhm.
you overall have like a
I have
great
a
network of
pretty good
yeah.
connection. I'm pretty blessed for that because most players doesn't have that.
Yeah,
But
but you also have to like admit that it's also like due to your like you're really socially active, right? I mean, you also pulled me basically into this scrim
Yes.
group of co, and you're just yeah. I think you're just overall a really caring. You have a caring personality that likes to like include other people, and I think you're good at bringing together like-minded people. And you
Yeah.
also like recruited a lot of people for like ABG when you still were on the team, right? So
Mhm.
like my two teammates that I still participate in Aegis now, you recruited them
Players.
actually.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think that's definitely one of your strengths to have just such a huge network.
Mhm. There are some people in NA that has a better time. They're like all connected and whatever. But yeah, I'm happy with the friends I've made that could help me with this kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, and you deserve it. So
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
You absolutely deserve it. I'm always a secret fan of you. Mention.
oh,
Oh.
I mean, we're all Jinden fanboys now.
I'm blushing.
Believe me, I was following you since time. First people. First, but okay, anyways, I think this podcast is long enough. Thank you for joining us. And thank you, Leer, of course, as well. Thank you all for viewing.
Yep.
You can join our RIWAN Discord. Also leave a follow on Jinden on Twitter. And yeah, good luck, Jinden, in Worlds. I would say
Thank
good
you.
luck.
Thank you.
I would say good luck, Leer, as well, but sadly you didn't.
Oh, rub it in again. Thank you,
One
man.
more
It's so happy
time,
to...
right in the end.
Okay.
Put the cherry on the top.
Exactly.
You're such a good friend, Carl.
You're welcome. And anyway, see you in the next podcast. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.